What is up, everybody? This is Cam Jennings coming at you on behalf of EpicConversions.com. I'm Cam from Epic Conversions, and I want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight. What are we talking about tonight on this live stream, on this podcast? If you're listening on the podcast, that's cool. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're catching this live on the live stream, welcome to the party, right? It is a fine Tuesday evening. It's late, man. I actually scheduled this. I wanted to do this between 10 and 11 a.m. It just didn't happen. Oftentimes in our businesses, things don't happen the way we want them to. We have a battle plan. We plan things to be a certain way, and then oftentimes they don't go that way, and we have to kind of like rearrange things and switch things around. That's okay though, not a big deal. I'm getting after it right now, and it's about 9 p.m. and this is actually working out good for me because I want to test to see like when I get the most people on these live streams, right? And I know, people catch the replays, but I want to know, when is the optimal time to get the most people live? And what I've found so far is it's between 10 and 11 a.m. It seems like between 10 and 11 a.m. I get the most people on. Now, does that mean you should run out there and do your live streams between 10 and 11? Not necessarily. I think you should test it, test it a few different times. I think it's going to be dependent on who your audience is. It's going to be dependent on who's paying attention to you, what you're talking about, stuff like that. But it's worth testing. You know what I mean? So anyways, what are we talking about today? I'm going to talk to you guys about five things that I stopped doing and actually made more money because of that. Now, these are 5 pieces of advice that I stopped following than initially I was following. But when I stopped following this advice, I actually made more money, right? So I want to share them with you guys tonight. And the hope is that, I'll be able to save you some grief and you'll be able to make a little bit more money from it. So that's the hope. So why don't we jump right into it? Before I do though, I should remind you, EpicConversions.com is my website. And of course, I'd love to have you on my email list. I send emails probably 3 to 6 times a week. I do sell things in my emails, but I also tell stories in my emails. If you like these live streams, and you think, wow, Cam talks about some interesting things sometimes. Well, you'd probably like being on my email list because it's basically the same thing except in a written form. And if you particularly like these live streams, well, I do these on Substack. So the best thing to do is to subscribe to my Substack. I try to do these live streams 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I try to do live streams for you guys on Substack. So, and then what I do is I'll share them. I'll syndicate this replay on YouTube and on Facebook. So that's what I'll do. And then of course it's distributed through a podcast network as well. But if you want to be here live, I do them live on Substack. So anyways, enough of that out of the way. All right. I got 5 things that I stopped doing. 5 pieces of advice I stopped following that made me more money. All right. What's the first one? The first one is responding to all comments and responding to all emails. Okay. That's the first one. You probably hear me say that and you think, what do you mean by that? Are you saying you don't answer your customer support, Cam? I don't mean customer support. Like if someone buys a product off of me and they have a legitimate problem opening the product or like they have a customer support question, I don't ignore people like that. Okay. But you don't just get emails like that. You get emails from people who just want to ask your opinion on their business. You get emails from people just telling you they like something you did. You get comments when you do videos like this. You get comments from people saying, hey, that happened to me too. Or, hey, I like your video. Or, hey, I don't like your video. Or, hey, I disagree. You get all kinds of comments and all kinds of email replies when you put yourself out there with an online business. So what I have found is now when I first came into online business, the advice I received was, hey man, make sure you're answering all the comments. Everybody who comments on your stuff, reply to them. Start a conversation. Everybody who, you know, everybody who emails you, reply to them, you know? Get those conversations going. I'm not saying that's a bad thing maybe when you're first getting started. But what I am going to tell you is there's such a thing as being too available, okay? There's such a thing as being too available. Um, your customers should not feel like that they can just reach out to you like they got the bat phone or something. They can just reach out to you whenever they feel like it and ask you any questions they feel like about business or, whatever you're positioned as an authority in. They shouldn't feel like they can do that. All right. What's going to happen if your customers feel like they can do that? And I'm telling you this, I learned this the hard way. What's going to happen if your customers feel like they bought a $10 product from you and now they can just have a conversation with you back and forth by email whenever they want, right? They feel like they're your friends and they can just talk to you because you answer everybody's questions and you talk to everybody all the time. What's going to happen is they're going to start buying less of your stuff. That's what's going to happen. I'm just being frank with you. They're going to start buying less of your stuff. And it's not because they don't value your opinions. It's not because they don't value your experience or value what you have to say. It's that they feel like they have you on tap. They feel like they can reach out to you whenever they want and they can ask you any question they want. They don't need to buy your material. They don't need to buy your information products. They don't need to sign up for your coaching. Why do I need to sign up for your coaching? I can just email you whenever I want. And you're going to answer my questions. I don't need to pay you like a couple $1,000s for coaching. There's no reason for it. You'll just answer any question I have. Right. So there's such a thing as being too available, right? Dan Kennedy talks a lot about the guru on the mountain. Now, I don't consider myself a guru by any means. I don't feel like I'm on some kind of a mountain, but his point is well taken. I mean, there has to be levels to being able to talk to somebody with your level of expertise. And the more expertise you have, the more you feel like your time is worth, the more there needs to be separation between like who can just talk to you whenever they feel like it. If you don't create that, and I'm not saying it's easy, it's hard. It's hard, especially if you're kind of a nice guy by nature. If you're kind of a nice guy by nature, it's hard to like ignore people. You don't want people to think bad of you, but guess what? Here's the thing. People are going to think bad of you. It doesn't matter. You could be the nicest guy in the world. Someone's going to think bad of you. It doesn't matter. All right. There's always going to be people to think bad of you. It doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is when people just say things to you willy-nilly, like, hey, nice job or whatever, you don't need to respond to all those people. You don't need to respond to every single person who tries to strike up a conversation with you in the inbox. Like there's a value to exclusivity. The more you respond to people, the more you like put yourself out there all the time with every single person, you're too easy to touch, man. You're going to make less money. Now, I say that to you, and you know what? Maybe you disagree with me. But if you haven't made a lot of money online, then you should think twice before you disagree with me. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't have a bunch of people trying to talk to you, or you don't have anybody trying to talk to you, I know that what I'm saying sounds counterintuitive. I know that what I'm saying might sound a little mean. I get it. But all I'm saying is walk a mile in my shoes before you judge what I'm saying, because information I'm giving you is not based on something I read in a book. It's based on things I've experienced. Like I've been in that place where I bent over backwards to be like Mr. Friendly, nice guy to all the customers and to all the people in my sphere, in my ecosystem or whatever. And you know what that got me? It got me a whole lot of people saying nice things about me, and it got me less sales, right? So take it how you want to take it. If I were you, I'd take it to the bank. You don't need to be Mr. Nice Guy all the time. You don't need to respond to everybody's stuff all the time. I'm not talking about customer support questions. That's different. If people have legitimate customer support questions, answer their questions. Make sure they can get into where they need to get into. I'm just saying, you pick and choose. You spend how you want. You decide how you want to spend your time. But if I were you, I would not go out of my way to answer every single little question, answer every single little comment, reply to every single little comment. Mr. Nice Guy. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. You're going to make less money. You're going to make a lot of friends. People are going to talk very nice about you and you're going to make less money. I'm just telling you. All right. Number two, what's the second thing? Strictly staying in my lane. All right. When I first started online business, like I came from the school of you got to niche way down, right? And then you stay in that lane. And I still believe in that for the most part, right? I believe in staying in my lane. Like as far as like, you know, I deal with online businesses, right? And I help people, make more money online. I help kitchen table entrepreneurs, one man bands make more money online. That's what I help. That's what I help. Now I do stay in my lane when it comes to that. But as far as like individual pieces of content, as far as like, you know, what I say on a day to day, um, I actually make more money letting it rip. I actually make more money just gripping it and ripping it. Um, and I think it comes back to, just being a little unpredictable. It comes back to kind of like people aren't quite sure what you're going to say. They don't know what's going to happen next. So that makes you interesting. Like, if your whole business is like membership clubs, like I was doing Easy Start memberships a while back, and I was going to start that little business. I decided I don't want to do that. I kind of put a scrap on that. I just decided I just wanted to focus on Epic Conversions. I didn't want to run two businesses at the same time. But when I was doing that, I was really hitting all the content was about membership clubs, membership clubs, membership clubs. And it's fine. It's fine. It's fine, especially when you're first getting started. You're trying to build some foundational content. But once you kind of like establish yourself as the person who solves this problem, all your content doesn't have to be uh, like just directly about that. I think it's good to kind of relate all your content back to the point. But I definitely think I have made more money, like taking people out to left field. You know what I mean? Like just talking about some random thing and then circling back around to something that would relate to my market. You know what I mean? Um, I definitely don't think it served me very well to always stay right on message, right on message, right on message. It's been far more profitable to me to start them out, like I said, start them out in left field. Like I'll be talking about anything. I'll be talking about Taco Bell. I'll be talking about baseball. I'll be talking about football. I'll be talking about today I was ranting about Gary V on my Substack, how why is everyone treating Gary V like he's freaking Nostradamus, man? The guy, the guy runs a business. It's a successful business, VaynerMedia is successful, media company, but it doesn't make the guy Nostradamus, okay? I mean, that's freaking ridiculous. People are always asking this dude questions about the future and stuff. I mean, man, 5 years ago, was it 5 years ago when he was like telling everybody NFTs the next best thing? Everybody needs to be invested in NFTs. I mean, what happened with that? Come on, man. Nothing against him, but I mean, he doesn't always get it right. He's not Nostradamus. And it's like just because you're a good businessman, that doesn't mean you have a crystal ball and you can just like predict the future. I don't know why people are always asking this guy Nostradamus questions. You know what I mean? It's so strange to me. So like, you know, and I was writing stuff like that on my Substack notes. Well, that's a little out of pocket. Okay, that's a little out of lane. All right. I mean, I'm supposed to be putting the message out there that I help small kitchen table entrepreneurs make more money with their business. So if we're staying in lane, every single piece of content that I write should be hammering that message directly, directly, directly. Everything's about that. That's all I'm putting out there. All I'm putting out there. And all I'm saying is what has served me better than that is kind of like speaking around my message, kind of circling around it. I always come back to the message, but I kind of circle around it. I talk about topical things. What's popping off right now? The other day I did a live stream about OpenAI changing their privacy policy. They're bringing ads in for free users. And I was talking about that, man. That was topical. That was the conversation that was happening in people's minds. That's not directly tied into me helping like kitchen table entrepreneurs make more money, but I can, swing it around to that. So like for me, like strictly staying in my lane, that was advice I received and I used that at first. But what I found was I can be more polarizing, I can be more interesting, and I'll keep people tuned into what I have to say when I don't just strictly stay in my lane and take people out to left field and then I kind of circle it back around in my lane. That is what has worked better for me. Okay, what's number 3? Pitch counts on emails. Okay. Pitch counts on emails. And if you don't know what I mean by pitch counts, that's like a baseball term. Basically, in baseball, that just means you have a pitcher, the guy who actually throws the ball so the other guy can hit the ball. If you don't know anything about baseball, that's basically what we're talking about. The guy who throws the ball for the other guy to hit the ball. Well, they have this thing called a pitch count, and this happens a lot, with pitchers who maybe they recovered from an injury, so they're kind of on a pitch count. They're handling them with kid gloves. They don't want to just, let the safety measures off. Or it happens a lot with older pitchers, pitchers who are a little bit older, so they want to be a little more careful with them. They want to handle them with kid gloves. They'll put them on a pitch count. Maybe they'll only pitch for like 5 innings or whatever, instead of like the normal 9 innings. They won't pitch the whole game. They'll put them on a pitch count. They don't want them to pitch too much. They don't want to wear their arm out. So when I first came into email marketing, it was like, oh, don't send too many emails. Don't send too many emails. That's bad. People are gonna, they're gonna label you as spam. You're gonna get sent to spam. All bad things are gonna happen. The email service providers are gonna label you. They're gonna blacklist you. You're gonna be blackballed, man, and all bad things are gonna happen. You're gonna be a spammer. So don't send too many emails. Well, none of that is really true. You could send emails. I have literally sent 2 to 4 emails a day. Okay. Now, what I would tell you about that is what really matters is the kind of emails that you send. Like, what does your email marketing look like? Like that's a topic for another day. That's not really something that's beyond the scope of this video. But the point is, you don't have to worry about like pitch counting your emails. Like you shouldn't be sending like, oh, I only send 1 email a week. I can't send more than that. Um, no, that's ridiculous. If you send more than 1 email a week, what's going to happen is you're going to make more money. That's what's really going to happen. If you're running a 4-day launch and you send 1 email a day over those 4 days, you're going to make so much money. And then if instead you send 2 emails a day, guess what's going to happen? You're going to make more money. That's what's going to happen, especially if you're sending the right kind of emails. Now, if you're sending the wrong kind of emails, sure, you could develop a bad reputation with your autoresponder services. Maybe people start putting you in their spam box. Sure, all those things could be possible. You got to do email marketing the right way. When it comes to online business, there's several disciplines that you need to study. One of them is email marketing and list building. I consider those 2 sides of the same coin, email marketing and list building. These 2 skills, 2 sides of the same coin, this discipline of email marketing and list building, it's, something you need to learn. But yeah, pitch counts on emails. All that's going to do is make you less money. So that's not advice I would follow. And that hasn't changed. It's been that way. I probably lost a lot of money when I first got started with pitch counts on my email. Oh, I can't send more than 1 email every 3 days. I can't send more than, what I'll do an email every other day. It's no, man. No. All it's going to do is like make you less money. All right. 4. What's the 4th thing? Using platforms I don't like. Okay. When I first came into business, and for a long time after, this is something I really just kind of started adopting the last couple years. But for when I first came into business and for several years after that, and just in case, just for side note, when I say for several years after that, I want you to know, like, I came into online business in 2011, okay? I came into business selling used books on Amazon, all right? And then I wrote a book about selling used books on Amazon, and then I kinda transitioned into a membership club about making money on Amazon, and then from there, I made another membership club, and then I went into YouTube channels, and then, in 2016, I started Epic Conversions, and Epic Conversions digital publishing, right? So Epic Conversions is 10 years old this year. In March of this year, it'll be 10 years old. So when I say that for a long time, I used a lot of platforms I didn't like, that's the kind of scope of time I'm talking about. For several years, I used platforms I didn't really like. Um, the reason I used them is because everyone said, "You gotta be there. You gotta be there, man. You gotta be there." What? You're doing online business and you're not using this platform? You're doing online business and you're not using that platform? One platform that I used for a long time was Facebook. And I'm talking, I used Facebook for like 7, 8 years. Every day, okay? Every day I was on Facebook. Um, and it was fine at first, and then and you guys have probably experienced this, but there was a time where it was fine, and then what happened was, in fact, I was just talking to a buddy of mine yesterday who said, "Man, I'm trying to get off of Facebook, man. It's messing with my mental health, dude. It's messing with my mental health." Um, so I was like, if it's messing with your mental health, hey, get off of there." Um, the thing is, what I figured out, and I felt like I had to be on there every day. I wouldn't say that Facebook was a messing with my mental health or anything like that. I would just say that it just got very annoying for me being on Facebook. A lot of it was like it started to feel like I was at some kind of high school or something, and there was a bunch of cliques, like cliques, like different groups of people, cliques kind of thing, like tribes, and it's just like I was just there's this kind of old saying like use social media, don't let social media use you, right? That's an old saying. You can figure out what that means yourself, but I think you probably already know what it means, I would imagine. But I think there are definitely times there, you know, moving on into that first stint on Facebook where I was letting social media use me, people would pull me into like, arguments about things that had nothing to do with my business whatsoever. And I would get into these, heated debates about things that I really had no business arguing about that had very little to do with me at all. That's kind of how it is when social media is using you. You start getting fired up about things that have nothing to do with you. It's not why you're on social media, stuff like that, basically. And so eventually, and I stopped using Facebook. I said, man, I'm done. And I'm telling you what, when I stopped using Facebook, I felt very strongly like I didn't know if I could do it. Like I was like, dude, I don't know if my business is gonna survive without using Facebook. I mean, I need Facebook for my marketing, dude. This is a this is a big part of what I do, man. I use Facebook for networking. This is a big part of what I do. And I was like really worried about getting off of Facebook, man. Um, but I did it, man. I said I can't take it anymore, man. I had like 5,000 friends on Facebook. I had a big network of affiliates on Facebook. And man, Facebook doesn't make it easy for you either. I had to delete all those friends one by one. 5,000 friends. I had to unfriend them and delete them off my list one by one before I could close my profile down. But I did it. I did it all, and it was tough, man. But you know what happened? It wasn't the end of the world. I was fine. I had an email list. I could still do marketing. People have email addresses. I could still do networking with people who mattered. The people who, I needed for affiliates or for whatever. I mean, I could still reach out to them. There's other ways to get in touch with people besides Facebook. Um, and then if you can't get a hold of people besides Facebook, if Facebook is literally the only way you can get a hold of somebody, man, maybe you can just do without those people. That's what I did. There was a few people during that time that like I literally could not get a hold of them by email or any other means. It was like Facebook's the only way that they responded. And I just let I just let those relationships go for a couple years. Now, I will say recently, like last year, I got back on Facebook. I kind of came back to Facebook. Um, but it's like a different approach for me now. I know like how I want to handle Facebook now. And I think that the relationship is different now on Facebook because I recognize that I don't need Facebook. If it starts bugging me again, I'll just be done with it. I'll just be done with it again. Um, Now, like for me personally, like I feel like it's like critical, right? Like here is like the biggest search engine in the world giving you a free television show. Why would you not take advantage of that? That's how I feel about YouTube. But at the same time, there have been times where YouTube has really bugged me, and it's just really bugged me to deal with YouTube. Like, maybe I just got frustrated because maybe I was putting a lot of work into stuff with YouTube, and I didn't feel like I was getting the results I should be getting, or whatever. Maybe I was doing a lot of networking and I wasn't getting the results that I felt like I should be getting for whatever reason. Maybe they changed their algorithms. Maybe like right now, like YouTube is really pushing shorts on people a lot. I hate shorts. I don't like shorts. Shorts, that's not my thing, right? But that's kind of what they're pushing. And that kind of turns me off. But the way I'm interacting with YouTube now is I'm just not doing shorts. I'm not doing them. I'm just doing long form videos. And the way I'm interacting with YouTube is like I do these live streams here on Substack, and then I move it over to YouTube, kind of like as a replay. And like what I'm noticing is like discovery from browse on my channel is up. Like when I was doing shorts and long form, like discovery from browse for me was like 5%. Now, discovery from browse is up to like 35%, something like that, 33, 35%. So it's up just because I stopped doing shorts, right? Shorts, man, will cannibalize the attention on your long form content. That's another conversation for another day. And like, I'm not sitting here telling you I'm a YouTube expert anymore. I will say I used to be really good at YouTube. Not like great. Put it this way, I took a few channels to over 10,000 subscribers. And, like you might think that is not very good. 10,000 subscribers, that's nothing. But honestly, that's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. You can look up how many YouTubers have more than 10,000 subscribers. And what you're going to find is not that many. You're going to find like 90% of YouTubers have less than 10,000 subscribers. So it's actually pretty hard to get a little bit more popular on YouTube. And I was doing pretty good. And the way that I did well with YouTube before was I focused on search, right? And the way that I did it was I focused laser sharp on one thing, right? When I first started, I was like, how to make money selling books on Amazon. I had a YouTube channel just for that one topic, how to make money selling books on Amazon. Then I started another YouTube channel, and it was all about one blender, the NutriBullet. It was all it was about. You can find it. She has NutriBullet Time. It's called NutriBullet Time. It's still there. You can find it right now. But all I talked about was the NutriBullet. That's all I talked about, man. Making smoothies in the NutriBullet. Can the NutriBullet crush ice? Can the what's the customer support like at NutriBullet? I'd call them up with a video playing. Let's see what their customer support's like, right? I was basically taking advantage of PAA, right? People also ask. The people also ask on Google. Google. You go to Google, you type something in, and you scroll down, and you'll see PAA. People also ask, and you'll see all those things that people also ask. And I was making videos out of all those PAAs for like NutriBullet, and it was working like gangbusters. But YouTube changed. Okay, YouTube changed, and like back then, search mattered, man. I was getting discovered through search. Now it's all about browse. It's not about subscribers as much. Has a lot more to do with browse. It has a lot more to do with shorts. Again, I'm not trying to get too deep into the woods on YouTube. To circle back around to my point, these platforms annoy me sometimes. They annoy me sometimes. They change the rules. I don't know the new rules. I got to figure the new rules out. I don't like that they changed. I don't like the people on the platform. Everybody's annoying me. And what I learned was you can walk away from any platform you want. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. Find another way. There's always another way. Okay. You got a wall in front of you, and that wall is bugging you in some way, shape, or form. It's holding your business down, right? You can always find a way over the wall, around the wall, under the wall, through the wall, right? And what I discovered was one of those ways with like social media platforms and just any platform in general was you don't need any of these platforms, okay? You don't need any of them. There's always another option. And that's what I found over the years, and sometimes it's easy to forget that. It's very easy to forget that, especially when you get used to something. You get used to using a certain thing, a certain tool, a certain platform. I'm telling you, there's gonna be some rude awakenings here pretty soon because you look at these, LLMs like Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. You look at these LLMs, man, they're operating like they have free they got free, free, free. Everything's free, you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of them have premium, like Claude has a premium, ChatGPT has a premium service, but still, they got a lot of free users, okay? A lot of free. They're burning tokens like crazy on just free users, right? And you're already see it. It's starting to change a little bit. We're in the whole free, the wild wild west, the free, world class LLM AI is it's in its final hours. Okay, you're already see them starting to clamp down. OpenAI just changed their privacy policy. They're gonna start putting ads on the free the free tier, and it won't be too long. I'm sure they're gonna start putting like limits on the free tier. Like, oh, you only get like, whatever. I don't know, like 20 chats or like whatever. I don't know. I don't use AI a lot. Um, Claude has a limit. You can only got you got so much time with the free version of Claude, and then it shuts it down. You're already starting to see it. Like the free tier is starting to like go away. So what I'm saying is, eventually these platforms are going to start like shutting out this free stuff, and what's going to happen is a platform that you used to use and it helped your business a lot is going to change all of a sudden, and you're going to be looking at it like it's annoying. It's going to be annoying to you. And you got to decide if you want to adjust to the change or you want to move on to something different or whatever, And so it happens to everybody, man. It happens to everybody. Now I'll just tell you that I made more money like by realizing I don't need any of these platforms. I can find another way around it, right? What happens is you make less money when you're in a bad mood, all right? And a lot of these platforms, when they start changing and they start changing the way things are going, or the people on the platforms are bothering you, it puts you in a bad mood and you make less money. All right. So, you know, money likes positivity. Money loves speed. Money loves decisiveness. And money loves an opportunistic, positive attitude. All right. So that's what I'd say about that. And then one more for you. What's number 5? Chasing trends for trends' sake. Man, when I first came on, I was like, man, this is what everyone's talking about right now. I got to talk about this. This is the thing everyone's doing. I got to do it. Right? Trends, a couple years ago, NFTs. How long ago was that? 5 years ago? A few years before that, it was cryptocurrency. Now it's AI. Everyone's talking about AI right now. That's the big thing right now. It's, you know, like there's nothing wrong with trying to ride the hot hand, okay? If you have something to say about the hot hand. If there's something you have to say about it and you're really interested in it and it matters to you and you see how your business kind of fits into that conversation, by all means, ride the hot hand. That's not what I mean. What I mean is chasing these topical trends, these topical, kind of like subjects just because they are topical, just because they're what's on everybody's mind, and like you don't really resonate with it at all. You don't really fit into that conversation at all. You really have nothing to add to that conversation at all, but you're going to try to find something to add. You're going to try to force something in just because you want to try to kind of like trend jack. You want to you want to capitalize on the trends, right? And you know, I know earlier on, like that was, hey, that's what you do. You ride the trends. You ride the trends. Um, I just what I have found is it's not good to ride trends when you are just basically forcing yourself into a conversation you don't care about and you have nothing to really add to that topic of value. Um, People are going to be able to tell you don't care about the subject. Um, you're just not being genuine. You know what I mean? You're not being genuine about it. It's not about really serving your market at that point. It's about capitalizing on attention. And there's nothing wrong with capitalizing on attention. Okay. But there's something wrong with this disingenuine conversation. You understand what I'm saying? This disingenuous conversation. That's what this is really about. Having a conversation with people that is disingenuous. Because what's going to happen is you're not really going to capture their attention very well. Because you don't really align with that conversation you're trying to have. You have no true interest in what you're talking about. You have no true dog in the fight, so to speak. You're just trying to, capitalize on attention. That doesn't work, man. At least it hasn't worked for me. Now, what has worked for me is keeping my finger on the thumb, right? Keeping my thumb on the pulse, keeping my finger on the thumb. What has worked for me is keeping my thumb on the pulse of the market, right? And when I see these topical subjects, I do align with a little bit, right? Like the other day, I was talking about OpenAI's, privacy policy, right? I don't really care about OpenAI's privacy policy. I know the people in my market care about OpenAI's privacy policy. And you might think, well, Cam, I thought you said you shouldn't talk about things you don't care about. If you don't align with it, you shouldn't force yourself to try to have this disingenuous conversation. Well, the reason why it works for me is because I'm very self-aware and I recognize I I don't like AI. So every time I have a chance to talk about AI and kind of bash on AI, it's not, yeah, I don't like AI, but it's not that I'm not interested in AI. You see what I'm saying? It's different. It's different because I know I'm interested in AI. Like, I don't care about ChatGPT's privacy policy change. But I know I can rant on for about an hour and a half on ChatGPT. Okay. I know I got a lot to say about ChatGPT and AI in general. So it's okay that you don't like a subject. Okay. The question is, do you have an emotion around a subject? When I say, do you have 2 cents to add to a subject, you don't have to like it. Do you have 2 cents to add to the conversation? It's okay not to like it. Sometimes it's good not to like it. You can be polarizing, not liking something everyone else likes. That will grab attention. So yeah, I mean, chasing trends for trends' sake, never good. Never going to work out for you. Not in the long run. People will pick up on your disingenuous conversation, even if it's just subconsciously they pick up on it. Have you ever been to like a car dealership and like the salesman, he's saying all the right things, he's doing all the right things, but for some reason, there's something about that guy. You just don't trust the situation and you walk out of there. You don't want to deal with it. You're going to find something else. It's like that, it's like your subconscious is picking up on something you're not picking up on. And I think that happens to us as human beings, like you pick up on things sometimes. And I think that like when you are kind of like chasing a trend for trend's sake and you truly don't really care about that subject at all, like you have no dog in that fight, you do not care about it whatsoever, you're just chasing a trend. I think your audience picks up on that. I think it makes for boring content. I don't think people really care that much. So that's what I would say. Anyways, that's 5 of them. So let me recap them for you. Again, I'm Cam from Epic Conversions. You can find my website, epicconversions.com. Okay, get on my email list. If you don't mind receiving emails that are similar to like this live stream, except in written form, you should sign up to my email list. You'll probably enjoy being there. If you like these live streams, you should subscribe to my Substack. I do these 5 days a week. And what do I do? What do I do on these live streams? I just get on here and talk about something I love, which is online business and marketing. I tell you what, you might think to yourself, Cam, I don't understand how you have something to talk about every single day, 5 days a week. Well, it's very simple. I know my market, right? And if you know your market good enough, you can find things to talk about every single day. It has to do with understanding the people you're trying to serve. Okay. So if you don't understand how I can do it, then that's a warning. That's a sign that you might not know your market well enough. Right. So that's what I tell you about that. Um, Anyways, let's recap these five, right? One, responding to all comments and emails. No thanks. Not going to happen. You don't need to be that available for everybody. Customer support, that's different. But just like random things people email you, comments people leave on your stuff, you don't need to respond to all that stuff. Pick and choose what you want to respond to. You don't need to respond to everything. There's no benefit to you being available to everyone all the time. And in fact, it's the opposite. You'll lose money. Two, strictly stand in your lane. In fact, it's been better for me to take people out to left field and circle back around to my lane. You know, talk about whatever's on your mind and then kind of circle it back to what you know they care about. Three, pitch counts on emails. Don't do it. It's a waste of your time. All you're going to do is lose money. Four, using platforms you don't like. It's not worth it. Try to use stuff you actually enjoy using. If you don't like Substack, get off of Substack, man. Get off of Substack. I got off of Medium a couple years ago. I had over 1,000 subscribers on my Medium account. I was doing pretty good on there. It's too radical left for me, man. Too much radical leftism on Medium for me, man. I had to get off of there. It was too much for me. Plus, it was like invasion of the robots on Medium too, man. Like ChatGPT came out, and like it was like that platform was getting inundated with AI content like crazy. Just people trying to game the system because of how their built-in monetization policy worked. The way they did monetization on there, of course, it was just vulnerable for AI, opportunists just to try to game that system. But yeah, use media platforms you like. Don't use tools and platforms that you don't like just because you think you have to. Because oh man, everybody's on TikTok. TikTok's the YouTube killer. No, it's not. No, it's not. If you don't like something, don't use it. I've never had a TikTok account, man. I've never been on TikTok. I don't use TikTok. It's not my thing. I hate short form content. Why would I use TikTok? No thanks. I don't care if everybody's on there. Everybody can keep staying on there. As far as I'm concerned, no thanks. It's not for me. You will do far better by taking control of your business and stop trying to react to everything that you think is the next big thing. Okay. You can't run your business so reactionary. At some point, you have to be the boss and you have to make proactive moves. And for me, sometimes that means moving away from a platform that everybody else happens to be using or that it has the hype around it right now or whatever. If it doesn't align with you, it doesn't align with you. Don't use it. And then 5, chasing trends for trends' sake. Don't do it, man. If you don't care about something, don't talk about it. Who cares about it? If you don't care about it, don't chase it. Don't chase the views, man. Don't chase attention. Don't ride the hot hand. Ride the hot hand if you got something to say about it, right? If you got something to say about it and you're interested in the subject, ride the hot hand, okay? When NFTs were popular, I wanted to learn about NFTs. I thought it was interesting and I felt like a moron, right? So I interviewed some people about NFTs. I put out a product called Don't NFTs Me. And it was basically a kind of over-the-shoulder case study product where I was learning about NFTs. I was signing up for different NFT platforms, and people got to watch me doing stuff. And I was, sharing what I was learning with people. It was a good product. People liked it. Put another product out like that called the Commodity Chronicles when I was really interested in commodities, and I kind of was sharing what I was learning with people. But sometimes, I will, get interested in something and I'll make a product about it. But that, with the NFT thing, it was hot and I was riding the hot hand, but I was interested in it and I had something to say about it. But what happens when you don't really have something to say about something? You actually don't really care about it at all whatsoever. It just doesn't have anything to do with you. I don't think that you should just put content out there about it because you're trying to capitalize on attention. I think you need to stick with things you actually care about. That's my opinion. Anyway, those are the 5. Those are the 5 I got for you tonight, man. Look, I hope you got some value out of this. If so, give me a like. Share this video with someone you think it might help. All right. And if you like these videos, subscribe to my Substack, man, because I do these 5 days a week. I'll be back tomorrow with another one. You guys take care of yourselves. Be good out there, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace now.